in my head, from when I read it the first time, I owe this book an apology, basically. Um, I did not give it the credit it deserves. In my head, I need to remember going forward to appreciate it more. Um, but so after the characters, the next session says get ready for action. Once you picked your hunter playbook, work through it to create your hunter, making the choices your playbook gives you. The keeper will guide you through the process and answer any questions you have. Introductions. Remember last week what we said? It said do your character part up to the introduction part and then stop and wait for everybody else. And that's because we're going to kind of all do this together. When you've all reached the introduction section, you'll take turns introducing your hunter to the others. Describe how your hunter looks, the main thing the team would know about you, what are you good at, what drives you, what personality trait stands out. The keeper or the other hunters might have some questions for you to answer them as appropriate. Remember, like, you're not going to meet in a tavern or whatever. You kind of already all know each other in some way or shape or form. In fact, you might even already have theoretically gone on missions before because you're already kind of a group. You probably have like some the team dynamic that we talked about in the last session too. And this clearly with the stake and everything, this looks like Buffy to me. But this guy, look at this guy. He's got a chainsaw for an arm. And I guess they just cut off, looks like a Medusa head there. History. When everyone has introduced their hunters, you'll each take another turn, this time picking history. So what they mean by turn is you took a turn describing introductions and your character, and then the next person did their character introductions. Okay. Now, going to like backstory, basically. That's the significant shared memories or relationships between the hunters. So this isn't like just your character's backstory, more about like how you know each other. Each playbook has a list to choose from, so it's going to help guide you. You don't have to just like make all this stuff up. Select one of the hunter's players to start. The starting player picks a history option from the list for each other hunter in the group. Many of these options require some additional detail. Sometimes the history choice will tell you who decides on the detail. If not, just work it out between you. Keeper, the other hunters might ask questions here as well. Answer these too. So to kind of give you an example, in another game, another Powered by the Apocalypse game that I'll be playing here in a few weeks. I don't think we have the date nailed down yet. Evil Dead. Okay. I might have to have volume down sometimes, by the way. Oh yeah, that's fine. I appreciate you being here, and any interaction, like all the chatting and stuff, is amazing. All the gifted subs you've given to the channel is amazing. I really appreciate you. I can't even put into words how much I appreciate you. But getting back to this real quick, sometimes, but in this game there's no strings. But another game that Monster Hearts, there are strings, and it's kind of like you have this tie to another player from a favor you did for them or something. Maybe they saw you doing something, then like you asked them to keep a secret or whatever. Anyway, it's kind of like this thing that can pull on you, like this past relationship part of you. And in that game, it'll be like, ask that person what the thing is. So this is what it's talking about, how sometimes you have the decision, sometimes the other person will, or maybe the keeper will or something. Just follow what's on your character sheet. In fact, real quick, we'll go back up to the chosen one, which we went over. Oh my goodness, why are all these blacked out? Maybe we should just go to the first one because all this scrolling probably not good, huh? We'll just look at the flake real quick. When we get down to history, okay? So introductions, right? When you get here, wait for everyone. Go around the group on your turn. Introduce your flake by name and look. Tell the group what they know about you. Then this is the history section they're talking about. So all of this is on your class sheet. Basically tells you how to make your character. But again, it's not like you have options as you're making the character, right? You have creative liberties. For instance, go on the group again. On your turn, pick one of these for each other hunter. Remember how I talked about having maybe one keeper and 3 hunters? So then you'll be choosing 3 of these. You know, one for the chosen one for the spell slinger was what I kept calling witch last time. Sorry about that. And then maybe you have 2 chosen ones. Like I said, I don't abide by that one rule, or a mundane or something. And you don't have to pick the first 3. Just read all of these. Maybe while other people are doing their introductions, but or maybe depending on the group and how long you guys are going to take on your session 0, maybe go ahead and read them all out when it gets to this point. Ask the group what they want to do, and then be like, oh well, this one, old friends, it feels like that would fit more for this player than the other player. Members of the same support group, okay, that makes sense for so and so. Fellow freaks. This should be the name of my friend group. But so it walks you through these things. Okay. Sorry for the fast scrolling earlier. Somewhat fast scrolling now. The monsters. I really want to play monsters. Oh, they actually give cool. I didn't know if they did this. They have one for vampire, one for werewolf, ghost. I didn't know if this was going to be vague on the monstrous. I can't say that word with my group. The people that live in the house I can, but they're the other person I can work. But that's very cool. They already have examples. I didn't know if it's just gonna be like a vague thing where it's just like you're weird, pick out your weird kind of thing. That's cool. They actually have those there. The mundane is just a dude. I scrolled too far up. I should have just went to the top, to the closest one. But I don't want to scroll back down fast again too, because for one it hurts my eyes. But I know watching the stream is gonna hurt you. Oh my goodness, I went way up, didn't I? I also just jumped down. I think it was like 97 or so. Yep, history. Okay. I should take notes on what the page numbers were. Maybe next time I try to do that, I will. Sorry about that. But, alright, so you're going to go pick one of those things to match each of the other players. If there's an option that you'd like to assign, but it's not clear which hunter would fit, ask the group if anyone wants to volunteer. This character creation, especially the history and how you know each other, is very much for the whole table to be involved in. It's okay if you can't decide which option to assign to a hunter. Pass the turn to the next player and choose your remaining options after you've learned more. Because if you do get stuck or whatever, maybe when other people are making their characters, then it might pop up. Again, you're not going to know everything about these characters until you start doing all these things, right? So, be flexible and have a nice group dynamic. You can even pick something and then change it later, as long as it's like before the session 1 or before the session starts, or if your group agrees to it, or whenever. At each other hunter's turn, they'll pick a history option for you. So in the end, each pair of hunters will have 2 history choices defining their backstory. This gives you a good opportunity to figure out which of your history options might fit with them, and which ones might complicate your relationship. Which is a good thing. Complications, what's it called? Conflict. Conflict is very good for stories. Don't be afraid of conflict. And conflict doesn't have to come to blows. Conflict doesn't have to be violent. Just be how you're different, and differences of opinions, and those can be fun to explore, especially if like the monster of the week you're facing has to do with those ideologies. I have another one, don't worry. The Keeper will have prepared a mystery for you to investigate. And we'll start by telling you what clues drew you in. Also remember, if this is your first time playing, to make sure if you have a move that starts at the start of a mystery, to be aware of that. Oh, it says right there, moves at the beginning of the mystery. If you have a move that is triggered at the beginning of the mystery, you should make it now. The chosen initiate have moves they always make at this point. The Divine, Expert, Flake, and Spooky all have moves that can take place now if you picked one of those moves. Make it now. Those are optional. The Chosen Initiate, remember how you had on the Chosen you had two things that were already checked and you got to pick a third thing? One of those things was beginning of the mysteries. Where these other ones, they'd have to have checked the one for that. Or decide if you want to, if it's optional. Again, remember the Chosen One and the Initiate, they're mandatory. You have to do it. How to play. This is what you do when you're playing your Hunter. Hunter agenda. Okay? Act like you're the hero in this story because you are. Not main character. Very important. Main character syndrome is a thing that you need to be careful about when you're playing TTRPGs. And all it really means is make sure everybody gets a chance to talk when they want to talk. And that you're not monopolizing, the whole story. There may be some weeks where, the story is more about your character than the other characters. But then make sure that the next week or following weeks, it's not always like that. And definitely make sure that everybody is getting a chance to talk. Even if you're talking more than them, make sure they're also talking. That's what you're there to do. The game is a conversation. It's right there. Okay, cool. Make your own destiny. Find the damn monsters and stop them. Play your hunter like they're a real person. But, quick caveat. Have fun. You're there to play a game. It's a game. I tried to find this game meme on YouTube. I couldn't find it. But maybe I'll get the picture. But if that last part, play your hunter like the real person, if that doesn't sound fun to you, then again, these are all guidelines, not rules. Play them like they are a movie character that you enjoy watching, or a character in a book that you enjoy watching. What this really means is don't disassociate like you would maybe like in a video game. The game that me and Brogdman are playing, BG3, on Mondays when we get to play. I was sick last Monday. You don't get to really roleplay your character that much because the game has a story that it's gonna tell, and so like if me and him tried to do like some role-playing stuff on top of it, we would have to make sure it fit in the story it's gonna tell, right? Like your character already basically has lines. You can choose from some of those lines. They kind of already have lines, whereas role-playing game, tabletop role-playing game, you can say whatever you think your character would, whatever you want. And so I'm gonna play that character, or something similar, in a new campaign that we have starting up 2 weeks from yesterday. We just did the finale D&D 5e, not the new rules, so sticking with 5e or 5.5. We call Tasha's 5.5 like I do. So I'm gonna play a similar character, I think, in that one, and we're going to go to the Wizarding School, Strixhaven, and that could be fun. And that's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do now, but of course I have plenty of time to. But yeah, so it just means get into character, have fun with it. Think like your hunter would think, do what your hunter would do. Remember that you're a badass, extremely dangerous, and good at what you do. Unless you played by date, I guess. But if you get into a fight, you might take a lot of harm. But hunters are lucky and heal quickly. Use luck to avoid harm if you need to. Alternatively, you can hold on until the end of the fight and then take a break to rest up and heal. For the full harm and healing rules, see page 110. You need to work out what's behind each situation, then work out how to find it and what its weaknesses are, and then kill it. And I did quickly earlier today. I took a quick peek at the story in this one and the story in the other book, or the first couple stories in the other book. For like the first mysteries. And I looked at armor, and armor was like I thought it was before, so it's like a damage threshold. So if you have, 2 armor, and the enemy can only do 2 damage at a time, 2 harm at a time, then like you're never gonna really take any damage, unless they get creative and do something else. But that is how armor works. The game is a conversation. This is an important game. I'm sorry, improvisational game. It's an important rule. It's an improvisational game in which you create a story together. Much like D&D, you can't win Monster of the Week, you can't win D&D as far as like being competitive with each other, or even against the keeper. It's more about, do we tell a good story? That's how you win these tabletop role-playing games. Is you tell a story that everybody enjoyed and hopefully was even moved by, but mostly it's like, yeah, we did a good story, not we rolled a nat 20 when it mattered the most, and so that makes our character better than your character. That's not how you play. The story emerges from a conversation between the players, with the keeper describing the initial situation, the rest of the players describing what their hunters do in response. I think my posture is not helping with my I was getting a little certain kind of way. The camera's not great. Huh. Barely see me. That's a little bit better, I think. Alright. I'm also probably just hungry, like I haven't eaten. So, this leads into an ongoing back and forth between the keeper and hunters. The keeper will ask you questions and describe how the inhabitants of the game's world reacts based on your answers. The keeper will also present you with situations in crisis to do with the monster you're hunting and its potential victims. These require new decisions from you about what happens next. You'll describe what your hunter does and make moves when they're called for. Each of your decisions and actions will lead to new situations. When deciding how to react, think like your hunter and keep your agenda in mind. Agenda is helpful. Is it in the playbooks? Real quick, I'm going to scroll up to this last one. Last playbook that was in here. Advanced improvements, leveling up, farm, luck, history, productions, gear. The agenda thing on here? Or you just mean agenda as far as beat? What did it? Ratings. The wronged. Okay, so maybe it's those 4 rules that was talking about at the beginning there. Hey, that's the agenda. I love the art in this game too. Oh yeah, hunter agenda. Okay, so it's right here. They're saying just try to keep these 4 things in mind throughout play. Okay. I don't know why they felt like this needed to be here. I don't mind the word damn on my cursing. I have warnings on my channel that's adult language and everything. But it feels like they were playing with a group that liked to goof off a lot and not like worry about the monsters and stuff. And like they're taking it out on us. I don't like this kind of writing. This is really bad, this kind of writing. Where it sounds like they were struggling with something and now like you're reading about it in a way, in a sense. It's really bad in Urban Shadows, which I like a lot about that game, but it's really old. Strong statements like this, like, what did I do? Like you feel like after you read that, like, wait, did I do something wrong? But obviously they're not talking about you necessarily. But yeah, the gamer's conversation. Let everybody talk and let other people give you suggestions. When you think about what your character might do, just don't let power gamers, which like in D&D, play your character for you all the time, right? Like just one best way to do whatever X Y Z. But definitely like groupthink is really good in TTRPGs. It should be more. D&D should also learn from these kind of games about inviting more groupthink in. Really good actual plays do it, like Dimension 20. But to a degree. Sometimes it gets to be too much in the DMS to rein it in. But yeah, don't be afraid of letting your friends help you tell your character's story. Just because this is your character doesn't mean that you don't need help writing them or whatever. I'm sure in TV shows, I know they have like writing rooms where there's like several people writing, and even if one character like does a lot of the writing for a certain character, I'm sure they've gotten ideas and feedback from other people or even suggestions. So don't and obviously that's a very serious paid thing and all that other stuff. Be an awesome job, I think. But and this is a game for fun, so why not do it here? Moves. If you've played D&D, I know I keep talking about versus D&D, but that's where I come from. Moves are like skill checks. If you're playing D&D and you say, well, I want to insight this person, or I want to look around me, roll a perception check or investigation check. That's all these that in this game they're called moves. So if you play D&D, you just called those moves. You said I want to insight move. If I want to roll a perception move, if I want to roll attack move, that would be the same as the moves in this game. It's just naming the actions you do when you're gonna end up rolling the dice. Hunters make moves to find the monster and to defeat it. Moves are moments of danger and uncertainty. You never know quite how they'll turn out. And this is important for the keeper because sometimes keepers we like rolling dice, and sometimes the keeper wants to let you roll dice and roll dice more and more and more. But one thing to try to remember is if it's not like a moment of danger or uncertainty, maybe it doesn't need to roll. Maybe you just the player says they want to do something, you just let them do it. Your hunter's moves cover all the things you can do where the game's rules get involved in the story. Where the game's rules get involved in the story. It doesn't mean this is all the hunter can do, period. Only if you need the rules. Your hunter can do amazing things and your keeper might not even ask you for a roll. Lots of times. This is only when needed, basically. Most of the time, you'll be describing what your hunter says, where they go, or what they do without activating a move. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That goes for everything that a normal person could do. Situations where failure would not be interesting and where there's no particular danger. In circumstances where a normal person couldn't do what you want to do, or the drama of the story requires it, or it's dangerous, that's when the moves come in and control how well you do. Here's some examples. I'm not going to write these right now. I'm trying to give you guys examples, and we kind of want to try and get through this more quickly. You have to make the move. A key element of the use of moves is you have to make the move. This means that if you want to, for instance, manipulate someone, which I'm thinking of changing this to convince someone. I could also just say persuasion / deceive, but we'll see how the rest of my group handles that language. And hopefully they don't just say we just don't want to play this game because it has that in there. We'll see. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. You need to describe your hunter doing that. How do you ask? What do you offer to make them do what you want? Why would they believe your offer is genuine? And this is talking about I kick some ass. So they're going to get in a fight here. Is this a bad versus good? Uh, oh, we're gonna skip all that. Okay. Sometimes the keeper will ask you questions to clarify what's going on. That's cool. For the game to work, everyone needs to clearly understand what's happening. So make sure you answer in as much detail as you can. And so like in D&D, sometimes you have a player roll the dice when you didn't ask for a check. That's problematic. If you want to do something, if you want to incite somebody, if you want to investigate, whatever you want to do, ask the DM, or in this case the keeper. You know, ask them, I want to kick some ass, for example, or investigate, whatever the case is, before you roll. Because again, sometimes you're not gonna have to roll. If a normal person can do it, or if they don't feel like it'd be interesting if you fail, they might just give it to you, the information. Also, it could lead to problem players. There's plenty of stories in D&D that I've heard of people rolling dice off screen. Maybe they like, sometimes again, we like rolling dice. We want to roll. And if you're just rolling over there to roll and you're not like trying to use whatever those rolls are for a check, that's fine. But if you're rolling over there, you roll 10 times, you get, and then you're like, oh, natural 20s do, whatever I want to do. That's not okay. That's not cool. It's like, were you just doing that until you got a natural 20 just so try to do a thing? Also, learn to accept failures and embrace failures. Failures in stories are important too. If you're always succeeding, it's not an interesting story. Rolling the dice. Often the rules for a move will tell you to roll, say, plus cool. This means you should grab 2 everyday 6-sided dice and roll them. Add them together and then add whatever number is written down for your hunter's cool stat. If it says something else instead of cool, usually another rating, then add that number instead. So if you are told to roll plus weird, roll 2 dice and add your weird rating. If you are told to roll plus tough, roll 2 dice and add your tough rating. Excuse me. If you have a negative rating, like -1, then you subtract 1 from your total instead. The move description will say the different results mean. Usually 7 or higher is good, and 10 or higher is really good. A result of 6 or lower is a miss, which means the keeper will have an opportunity to screw your hunter over. Bonuses and holds. Sometimes to move will give you a bonus to future dice rolls. You get to take the bonus forward or ongoing. Sometimes a move will give you a hold. Forward. If you get +1 forward, you get +1 on your very next roll only. Not gonna read the example. Ongoing. If you get +1 ongoing, you get +1 to every roll you will make until the situation no longer applies. And normally this also tells you in the mysteries, in relation to what you got success on. For instance, if you were doing investigation, you get the +1 ongoing to investigate in this room, and then you find somebody who wants to fight, and you have to roll to face harm, and then maybe roll to kick ass. You're not getting +1 to those. You're not investigating. Now you're in a fight. But read a bad situation. There it is. So just kind of keep those things in mind. But it's not the end of the world if you get a rule wrong too. Especially the first couple times you're playing. It's gonna happen, and don't stress about it. Don't try to go back in the story if it's happened a long time before whatever happened. If it just happened and you want to fix it, or whatever, and the table agrees, that's fine. But if something we had at the beginning of the session, the end of the session, you learn, oh, that was the wrong way to handle that. Just keep a note for that for the future. The next time you play, don't get too stressed out if you get a roll wrong here and there. It will happen in all games, even the simplest games. Hold. When you get a hold, you'll get a number of points. Each point can be spent 1 for 1 to get a specific effect. The move will list the effects you can spend your hold on. I'll go ahead and read this example because I don't even know if I fully understand hold. For example, you are interviewing the witness to a monster attack, and you make an investigative mystery roll. Your result gives you a 2 hold. You can spend your hold to ask the keeper questions from the list in the investigative mystery move. You ask a witness, "Did you see where the attacker went?" and spend 1 hold. "Where did it go?" is one of the questions. And those questions are listed in the move. We'll get deeper into the moves later. The keeper says, "As Miss Henderson, the witness, it scurried over there and put up that grating and went into the sewers." As the conversation with the witness continues, spend the next hold to ask the keeper about the monster's powers. "Hey, from all the things they've told me, can I work out any powers?" What can it do is another question. The keeper replies, "The witness descriptions don't agree at all. It must be able to change shape or maybe change memories?" Later, the last hold goes to ask the keeper about whether a witness... But do they have 3 holds? Next hold. Yeah, so even in this example, it's kind of a typo. Unless they're saying they did another roll and got another hold somewhere. But anyway, later the last hold goes to ask the keeper about whether a witness is hiding something. That exhausts your hold, so you don't get any more questions for now. Alright, basic moves. Perfect timing, because we're just talking about like how we kind of need to get into more about the moves. It's been a long day. And remember that bad weather I told you about? I drove it earlier to do a DoorDash and stuff, so. And, yeah. I introduced basic moves earlier, the things every hunter can do to find the monster and kill it. Now that you're about to start, let's go into more detail about what these are. Act under pressure. This covers trying to do something under conditions of particular stress or danger. Examples of acting under pressure are staying on task while a banshee screams at you, barricading a door before the giant rats catch up, resisting the mental domination of a brain. I can't say that word. Fighting on when you're badly injured. When you act under pressure, roll plus cool. On 10 plus, you do what you set out to do. On 7 to 9, the keeper is going to give you a worse outcome, hard choice, or price to pay. On a miss, things going to hell. And this whole system, which is pretty popular in Powered by the Apocalypse stuff, of 10 plus, means a success. 7 to 9 means a success, but with like conditions. This is give you a worse outcome, hard choice, or price to pay. I guess because you're acting under pressure, but a worse outcome just means you don't get exactly what you want, right? So it's basically the same thing as what I was trying to say. Price to pay is an interesting concept too. Like maybe you get what you want, but you have to drop your cell phone and leave it behind or something. Interesting. Or hard choice. You get to choose whether or not you drop your cell phone or you catch the person about to fall off the building or something. Then on a miss, you drop your cell phone and the person falls. Help out. When you help another hunter with a move, they are making roll plus cool. So this is, again, different from other systems like D&D. You don't give the person advantage. First of all, you have to roll to help. On 10 plus, your help grants them plus 1 to their roll. Like if they don't get advantage, they get to add 1. And remember, plus 1 is pretty big when you're only really trying to get 7. 7 to 9, your help grants them the plus 1 to their roll, but you also expose yourself to trouble or danger. On a miss, you expose yourself to trouble or danger without helping. Note that help bonus do not stack. If 2 people help out, the hunter gets plus 1 on their roll, so there's no point in everybody trying to help. Investigate a mystery, and you'll notice it's actually pretty big. This is basically the main move of the game, so they're going to go into detail here. Investigating can be done any number of ways. Following tracks, interviewing witnesses, forensic analysis, looking up old folklore in a library, typing the monster's name into Google, capturing the monster and conducting tests on it, and so on. Anything that might give you more information about what's going on is fair game for an investigative move. When you investigate a mystery, roll plus sharp. A 10 plus, hold 2. Remember we talked about holds earlier. These are kind of like questions you can ask the DM later. 7 to 9, hold 1. One hold can be spent to ask the keeper one of the following questions. So again, 10 plus, you get to ask 2 of these questions. 7 9, you get to ask 1. Now miss it. It probably depends on the situation. Oh, it says right here on a miss, you reveal some information to the monster, whoever you are talking to. The keeper might ask you some questions which you have to answer. That's fun. So you can ask the keeper if you get a hold. What happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed here? It's important that your attempts to investigate and the results you get from them are plausible and consistent with what's happening. For example, if you're using laboratory equipment to investigate evidence, you probably won't be able to learn anything about the monster's magical origins. The keeper is obliged to answer truthfully, but not necessarily in full. Just what you can work out in your current situation using current methods. The keeper may choose to describe how something you've just discovered relates to something you learned previously. The keeper may ask, how do you find that out? If you don't have a good answer, choose another question instead. Kick some ass. This is used when you are fighting something that's fighting you back. Remember, the DM keeper, whatever you want to call it, they don't roll dice. So the it's fighting you back is basically when you're fighting it, like see down here, you might take harm if you don't do that well. Let's find out. Let's just read it. When you get into a fight and kick some ass, roll plus tough. On any success, 7 or more, you and whatever you're fighting inflict harm on each other. So you're both taking harm here. The amount of harm is based on the established dangers in the game. That usually means you inflict the harm rating of your weapon, and your enemy inflicts their attack's harm rating on you. You're both taking damage here. You can take 7 harm before you die. If you roll a 10 plus, choose one extra effect. You gain advantage. Take +1 forward or give +1 forward to another hunter. Now, again, this is not D&D advantage. This is telling you what the advantage is. You get a +1 forward or you can give +1 forward to another hunter. You inflict terrible harm. You can do +1 harm for whatever harm you're already doing. You suffer less harm. So if you are fighting something and its harm is only 1, you're going to end up taking. If you roll 10 plus, you don't have to take that 1. You force them where you want them. Positioning in stories can be everything. A lot of stories, and especially like TV shows nowadays, use the environment. And in BG3, like there's a lot of environmental stuff that you're going to end up seeing as we play that game to use to our advantage. So try and think about the environment as you're fighting and try to get into a better position. On a miss, you get your ass kicked instead. You suffer harm or get captured, but don't inflict any harm back. So, or how you're both taking harm, well, you might not do harm to them if you get. You're definitely not going to do harm to them. You get 6 or less. Manipulate someone. This move is used when you want someone to do something for you, they don't want to do it. To get them to do what you're asking, you'll need a good reason. What counts as a good reason depends on what you are asking for and your relationship with them. For friends and allies, you might just need to ask for witnesses to a monster attack. You could tell them you are with the police or just offer them some cash for answering your questions. So again, those would not need rolls. A normal person can do that. Once you have given them a reason, tell them what you want them to do. So now, again, this is if somebody doesn't want to cooperate or is being cagey. Say, okay, can I, manipulate someone? And then if the keeper says, yeah, roll, you can roll plus charm. For a normal person, if you get 10 plus, then they'll do it for the reason you gave them. If you ask too much, they'll tell you the minimum it would take for them to do it, or if there's no way that they do it. 7 to 9, they'll do it only if you do something for them right now to show that you mean it. If you ask too much, they'll tell you what, if anything, it would take for them to do it. On a miss, your approach is completely wrong. You offended or angered the target. For another hunter, okay, so this is like kind of almost like PvP, like you're talking to another character in the party, but they don't want to do what you want to do. Your keeper can still say, roll manipulate somebody. On a 10 plus, if they do what you ask, they mark experience and get +1 forward. On a 7 to 9, they mark experience if they do what you ask. On a miss, it's up to that hunter to decide how badly you offend or annoy them. They mark experience if they decide not to do what you ask. And again, this is just incentive for you for honoring the dice, basically, for that other person, really. And I like that. And I would hope that my players, or if I'm a player, I would try to take note of this, when this happened, and to use in the future, again, to represent the conflict that this represents. And again, you don't have to come to blows. You can be less than perfectly comfortable with somebody. Me and Brogdon Man have plenty of times that we disagree about things, or how to handle things, and I think that's interesting. Everybody's different, and that makes them at least interesting enough until you get their deal or another deal, if you can even get to that point. Manipulating monsters. Manipulating someone does not normally work on monsters, even if they can reason and talk. You can try and make a deal with one if you really want, but you don't get to roll to ensure it keeps its side of the bargain. You just have to hope it's an honorable fiend. Good luck with that. If you take the monstrous move, Dark Negotiator, for any other move that specifically allows it, or any other that allows it, then you are allowed to manipulate monsters if they can reason and talk. Of course, a monster probably needs a different sort of reason than normal people, quite possibly something you really won't want to do. Missions may or may not be susceptible to manipulation. It may be possible to manipulate minions who are human or almost human. Those that are incapable of understanding or reason not be manipulated. Ooh, 1 of Fort Worth, a third of the way through. Protect someone. I love that this is just a move that every hunter can do. You don't need a special feat or a special subclass. If someone's about to suffer harm and you can somehow prevent it, then you can try to protect them. When you prevent harm to another character, roll plus tough. On any success, 7 or more, you protect them okay, but you'll suffer some or all the harm they're going to get. If you get 10 plus, choose an extra. You suffer little harm, so -1 harm. All impending danger is now focused on you. You inflict harm on the enemy, or you hold the enemy back. On a miss, then you end up making things worse. Read a bad situation. This is interesting. When you look around and read a bad situation, roll plus sharp. Notice that's not read a situation. This isn't just an insight check. This is, you already kind of know the situation is bad, now you're trying to figure out how bad is it. 10 plus, hold 3, and a 7 to 9, hold 1. 1 hold can be spent to ask Keeper one of the following questions. What's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? What's the best way to protect the victims? One thing of note too, if you're the Keeper, pay attention to the questions they didn't ask. and think about ways that you can use those, to give you ideas on how to raise the stakes of the story. If you act on the answers, you get a +1 ongoing while the information is relevant. For example, if you ask for the best way into the monster's lair, then you get a +1 while you are infiltrating it. But once you're in, the information doesn't help you anymore. Bonus is only applied once on each roll, even if more than one question applies to your course of action. So, you're trying to read about a situation, you got your answers, hopefully. Now, are you going to act on those answers? Again, this is kind of promoting good role-playing, good storytelling. I like that. I dig that. On a miss, you might misread the situation. Everything's fine here. It'll totally be safe to go investigate alone. Or you might reveal tactical details to your enemies. It means the keeper can ask the questions above of you. Use magic. When you use magic, say what you're trying to achieve and how you do the spell. Then roll plus weird. Remember, every hunter can do this. But obviously, ones with extra weird will help. And if you also have a class or kit for it, it's gonna help. If you get 10+, the magic works without issue. Choose your effect. 7 and 9, it works imperfectly. Choose your effect and a glitch. You see down here, there's effects and glitches. The keeper will decide what effect the glitch has. On a miss, you lose control of the magic. This never ends well. By default, the magic has one of the effects listed below. Lasts for around 30 minutes and does not expose you to danger, unwanted attention, or side effects. If there's a glitch, that might change. So again, 10+, you get to pick one of these effects. Okay, 10+, you get one of these effects. 7 and 9, you get one of these effects. There's also a glitch. And then on a miss, it's bad. You don't get one of these effects for sure. The effects include inflict harm, 1 harm, ignore armor. Is magic obvious? Oh, because those are different tags that add to it. If they have magical armor, then it basically doesn't pacify it. I read that earlier about something else. I'll try to look up armor. Remember, we were confused about armor last time. But yeah, so you can do 1 damage bypassing their non-magical armor. You can enchant a weapon, gets +1 harm and plus magic. He has the magic property now, so then it could deal again, damage to things that can't be hurt without, if they're only hurt by magic stuff. Do 1 thing that is beyond human limitations, like I don't know, fly or something. Bar a place or portal to a specific person or type of creature. And bar there, I'm pretty sure it means like block or keep out. Trap a specific person, minion, or monster. Banish a spirit or curse from the person, object, or place it inhabits. Summon a monster into the world. Communicate with something that you do not share a language with. Observe another place or time. Heal 1 harm from an injury or cure a disease or neutralize a poison. So 10+, you just get to pick one of those. 7 to 9, you get one of those and you have to pick a glitch. And again, this is the keeper gets to pick how that happens, right? This is the effect is weakened. So let's say you bar a place or portal to a specific person or type of creature. I also said up here is like last 30 minutes. So maybe my glitch is that it's only gonna last a minute, or maybe even 5 minutes. That's still gonna be consequential. Because like obviously, if it's supposed to last 30 minutes, that'd take 10 minutes, and the hunters can get done what they need to get done in 5 minutes. That's not really a glitch or a problem, right? But the effect is weakened. The effect is of short duration. Oh, okay, so that's nice. So maybe weakened is, I don't know, something else. You take 1 harm, ignore armor. Ooh. The magic draws immediate, unwelcome attention. It has a problematic side effect. Keeper may require one or more of the following. Spell requires weird materials. The spell will take 10 seconds, 30 seconds, or a minute to cast. The spell requires ritual chanting and gestures, which kind of goes back to the unwanted attention, right? Possibly, depending on where you're at. The spell requires you to draw arcane symbols, which may, you may end up leaving there, especially if you have to leave in a hurry. So now there's evidence you've been there and done magic. You need 1 or 2 people to help cast the spell. You need to refer to a tome of magic for the details. Interesting. If you want to do magic that goes beyond these effects, it counts as big magic. Big magic uses different rules described below. Okay, so these are cantrips, level 1 spells kind of things. If you want to do big magic, sometimes the everyday spells and rituals that use magic basics moves aren't enough. Big magic covers everything more powerful, such as bringing someone back from the dead, or opening a portal to another dimension. Big magic is both more powerful and more dangerous than basic use magic. Decide what magical effect you want to make happen. Tell the Keeper. They will determine what you must do in order to cast a spell. The options, and the Keeper can pick more than one, are: you need to spend a lot of time, days or weeks, researching the magical ritual. You need to experiment with the spell. There will be lots of failures before you get it right. You need some rare and weird ingredients and supplies. The spell will take a long time, hours or days to cast. You need a lot of people, 2, 3, 7, 13 or more, to help. The spell needs to be cast at a particular place or time. You need to use magic as part of the ritual, perhaps to summon a monster, communicate with something, or bar the portal you opened. You will have a specific side effect or danger. Once you know the requirements, you need to arrange them. Once you've done that, the magical effect you want will simply happen. You don't need to roll any move for big magic itself, but you might need to roll some other moves as you try to meet the requirements. That's going to give some examples. Again, we're not going to go through the examples right now. We're trying to get through this. Again, books, $20 on TTRPG. I highly recommend it. I think that might also be on their own site. If you Google Monster of the Week, the people who made the book, that's at least for the PDF as well. Right, here are some things to remember when you get down to the slaying. Don't always go right to rolling dice for kick pass. That move puts you in danger of harm as well as your enemy. If you can find a way to attack without putting yourself in danger, then you can inflict harm without suffering any yourself and without needing to succeed on a roll. Remember, you can try to protect someone whenever they are threatened or harmed. Think about who needs protecting and where everyone is in relation to each other. If you set things up right, you might even be able to save a teammate from the harm they're going to suffer if they miss a roll. Remember that you can help another hunter, give them +1 on a roll. This can sometimes be different between the difference between life and death. Plus, if you help in a fight, you might say you can add the harm of your attack to the attack of the hunter you're helping, so you can take your monster down faster. Alright, before we get to unarmed attacks and improvised weapons, we're going to take a 5-minute break. We've been going for an hour, and I want to check on my dinner. So be right back, Pam. Thank you for hanging out. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am, and I'll see you in 5. Well, I forgot to run the timer. I don't think it's been quite 5 minutes, but also the food's not ready. So, got a couple drinks, so I ate a chip or two. I'm hungry. Unarmed attacks and improvised weapons. If your hunter has been caught unarmed and is just fighting with fists and feet, you do 0 harm and intimidate. You can still hurt things if you have a bonus to harm. That could come from getting 10+, my kick ass roll, or a move you have. If your hunter grabs a random object to use as a weapon, decide between you and your keeper about how it's rated. Here are some guidelines. If it's hardly more dangerous than a punch, then stick to the 0 harm. If it's sharp or heavy, like a kitchen knife or a lamp, 1 harm. If it's really heavy, like a microwave or a bar stool, 2 harm. And heavy. If you can throw it, add close range. We'll learn more about those tags in a little bit. Harm. When you take harm, the keeper will tell you what happened and how many points of harm it was. Mark off that number of boxes on your harm track. There'll be an additional effect. The keeper will tell you what that is. Injury severe. Injury severity depends on how much harm you have suffered. 0 harm wounds have only minor short-term effects. 4 to 7 harm wounds are serious and unstable. They will get worse unless treated. Mark the unstable box. 8 harm or more will kill a normal human, including a hunter. Note that armor reduces the harm suffered by the number of points it is rated for. There are more details in the keeper section. Monsters and harm. Monsters are usually a lot harder to kill than humans. Minions. Lesser supernatural creatures can be as well. All monsters and some minions have weaknesses. That means they cannot be killed until you use their weakness against them. How to use a weakness against a monster depends on what the weakness is. Weaknesses can include things that can be used as a weapon, like fire or cold or iron. Specific methods of attack, silver weapons, or decapitation. Something to do like a magical ritual or a burial procedure. A harmful environment, like sunlight or running water. If you know the monster's weakness, use it. If you don't know its weakness, find out using your moves. If you don't use a creature's weakness, it will come back, even if you win the fight. Interesting. Healing. A 0 harm wound goes away right after you get it. It can cause a momentary problem, but after that, it's purely cosmetic. Moderate wounds, 1 to 3 harm, will improve when your hunter has a chance to rest up, get a decent night's sleep, or get some first aid treatment. This reduces the injury harm by 1. So if you got 3 harm, it's gonna take 3 nights. If you're only using sleep to go from it. First aid does not normally require a move. It's just regular practice. Hunter moves that provide healing may be used in addition to first aid. You can only benefit from first aid once per injury or condition. So, if you do first aid, you go to sleep, that's 2 of it. The next day you do first aid, you can be back to normal that way. Serious wounds, 4+ harm, require treatment. They are normally unstable, meaning that they will worsen if untreated. The keeper will tell you when to mark off another point of harm. Left too long, serious wounds will kill you. If the move tells you the injury is now stable, you can erase the mark in the unstable box. If you take more harm and are still at 4 harm or more, then your injuries become unstable again. For serious wounds, first aid heals 1 harm, but will still be unstable. What counts as treatment depends on the wound, but will usually be one of the following. A hunter's healing move, time in an infirmary if someone's in someone's haven, a visit to a doctor or emergency room, a magic spell. Healing moves will mention how many harm they heal. So you can be like a magical healer in this game also. Healing between mysteries. After mystery is concluded, but before the next one, all the injured hunters will get some healing. If there was a while to rest between mysteries, then heal all your harm. If there is no time to rest between mysteries, then heal 1 harm. Resurrection. If someone wants to bring a slain hunter or someone else back from the dead, this requires big magic. But there's an extra step for this particular case. When you return to life, roll weird. So subtract 3 if you have +3 weird. Oh. Roll the opposite of weird, basically. Interesting. So if you're -1 weird, you add 1. If you're +3 weird, you subtract 3. The weirder you are, the weirder it is when you come back from the dead. That's fun. At 10 plus, you have changed a little. Mark experience and pick any one of the options below. For 7 to 9, or miss results. Okay, so on 10 plus, you have changed a little, and that's it. Period. But if you get 7 to 9, you mark experience and pick any one of the options below. 7 to 9, choose one of these. You come back a little bit broken, maybe memory loss, stressed, disconnected. You come back a little different at 1 to 1 rating of max plus 3 and subtract 1 from another. -2. You come back very different, change to a new playbook, just as if you took the advanced improvement. Your revival satisfies an ancient prophecy. Ooh. Something comes back with you. Possessing spirits, slaying monsters revived. An ancient evil is released. But it's not a pressing danger. You or the one who brought you back owes you favor to a powerful spirit, monster, or demon. On a miss, you come back broken, soulless, insane, or depressive. You come back disabled, take -1 to rating, up to -2 at worst. Your revival satisfies an ancient, dark, and terrible prophecy. Something comes back with you. It is an immediate and pressing danger. You or the one who brought you back owes a huge debt, like your soul or your firstborn or 10 years of servitude, to a powerful spirit, monster, or demon. Those are all fun. Get the mind thinking for sure. The luck counter. Remember, all of our hunters are a little bit lucky, basically. That's kind of part of them being hunters, part of them being supernatural in this world. Luck might not be the best word for it, but that's what they're calling it. Every hunter has a certain amount of luck they can call on in emergencies. When you mark off a point of luck, you can choose one of the following lucky breaks. Decrease a wound you just suffered to 0 harm. So every time you take damage, if you have luck left, you can take less. After you roll, retroactively change the result to a 12. It's any roll. Any roll you need to succeed, you have luck, you can. Your playbook has a luck counter that keeps track of how much is left. You only get a limited supply, make it count. And it doesn't say there that everybody starts with the same amount of luck, so that's interesting. Maybe you don't. Maybe different playbooks have different amounts of luck. That could be a really cool way to balance the playbooks. When you run out of luck, when you have marked off all your luck, the keeper is allowed to hit you with more bad stuff. Fate will be looking for some payback. If your playbook includes fates, related stuff such as Chosen Ones, or Spooky's Dark Side, running out of luck means all that bad stuff is going to start happening. Here are the rules for gear, vehicles, teams, allies, havens, and all that. Getting new gear. If you want to get something that you could just buy it. You can also get new gear when you take certain improvements. If you want something that you couldn't just buy, like a flamethrower or a magical artifact, or something you don't have the resources to get, then you need to do something special, like call in a favor, or steal it. Tell the keeper what you're doing, and play through the acquisition attempt to see how well it works. The same thing can apply if you want an ally, team under your command, or something else hard to arrange, like an expert's haven. If you do everything necessary to get the new gear, well, then you get it, even without using an improvement or anything like that. Weapons. All weapons have some tags listed of descriptions that describe how they work. All weapons have a harm and range tag that lets you know how much harm and injury from it causes, and how far away the target can be. For example, power drill does 2 harm, and loud and messy. And means like you have to be able to touch the person. It's loud, so it could attract attention, right? And it's messy, you're gonna leave a mess. What causes 2 harm? And it just says basically what I just said. Hand is the range tag. Okay. Here's what the tags mean. 1 harm, 2 harm, 3 harm. This is how much harm the attack inflicts. Area can hit multiple foes. You may divide the harm you inflict among the multiple targets. They don't each take that harm. You have to, divide whatever harm it says amongst the area, the targets in the area. Balanced, easy to wield and keep your grip on. Barrier does harm to anything that passes through. Counts as armor against any attacks that pass through it. Close, effective at fairly close quarters. Outside arm's reach, but not too far. Far, effective at long range. Fire sets things on fire. Forceful pushes things around, allowing you to force them where you want them, in addition to normal attack effects. Hand effectively within arm's reach. Life Drain transfers life energy. The wielder is healed for as many points of harm as were inflicted. If you inflict 2 harm, then you heal 2 harm from your injuries. Heavy. This weapon is heavy and difficult to wield. Holy. This will be more effective against monsters of a weakness to holy items. Ignore armor. Ignores protective armor. Armor has no effect on this harm. If armor has the magic tag, then the attack needs both ignore armor and magic to bypass the armor. Innocuous. Doesn't draw suspicion. Intimate. Effective at the closest of quarters, within the embrace of your foe. I noticed earlier when I was reading like a monster tab, like they had a bite. So that was intimate, right? Because you have to get your mouth on them, right? That's very intimate. Loud enough to draw his attention. Magic, enchanted, so it can affect certain creatures and armors that are proof against normal weapons. Many, these weapons are small enough you can carry a large number of them. A material, this weapon is made from named material and is thus useful against monsters with that weakness. Messy, spreads a lot of blood and gore around. Quick, fast to prepare and attack with, giving you a better chance of going first. Reload, this weapon has limited ammunition and may run out and need to be reloaded. Restraining, a successful attack entangles or grabs the victims. Slow, this weapon is slow to prepare and attack with. Small, this weapon is tiny and easy to conceal. Unreliable, this weapon needs regular cleaning and maintenance, otherwise it just isn't going to work. Useful, this weapon has other uses, aside from violence. Valuable, it's antique, made of valuable materials. Volatile, this weapon is dangerous and unstable. Then we get to custom weapons. But, I finally got the text that dinner is ready. So, I'm going to go on another break, so I am going to put the timer and try to be back in that 5 minutes. I wonder if I shouldn't do that when I'm grabbing dinner, though, in case it does take 6 minutes or something. But we're going to try it. We're going to try running the timer. Alright, bam. I got it. Yeah, I'm so hungry. I'll be right back. Excuse me. Good. Well worth the wait. Well worth the wait. Got some chicken and some vegetables. Good stuff. Alright. Custom weapons. If your hunter or your foes get a new weapon that needs tags, you can define your own. Think about the way the weapon is used and what effects it will have, and write down tags in accordance with that. Every weapon must have a harm and range tag. There's no upper limit on the harm rating, but 4 or more is usually very destructive. Use the existing weapons in the Hunter Playbook and following table as a guide. Permitted range tags are intimate, hand, close, and far. Other tags are optional. If it's hardly more dangerous than a punch, 0 harm. all the way up to 4. For example, a hunter decides they want a super soaker type water gun for a monster that has water as weakness. It needs a liquid tag, not water, because you fill it with something else too. So rate it water gun, 0 harm, close liquid. And you know the damage coming from the weakness, right? It's 0 harm because it can do 0 harm to most things. But because it has a weakness to liquid, that's where the harm to that creature is going to do. It's not going to do 0 harm to that creature anymore because it's a weakness. Armor reduces harm suffered by the wearer by the number of points that it is rated for. For example, if you are wearing a leather jacket with 1 armor and a sewer mutant claws your arm for 3 harm, you only suffer 2 harm injury. 1 armor includes heavy leather jackets, motorcycle armor, bulletproof or stab-proof vests, and other light but significant protection. 2 armor includes military body armor, police riot gear, medieval mail, or other seriously bulky and highly effective protective gear. Armor has the magic tag. The normal weapons that have ignore armor don't bypass the rating. Only weapons that have magic and ignore armor will bypass magic armor. Normally, hunters can only get gear worth 1 or 2 armor. Armor worth more than that would be something very rare and special, perhaps ancient magic, of the results of weird science. Other gear. In general, your hunter can simply use other gear without needing extra rules for it. It's not necessary to define every piece of equipment that comes into play, but if something becomes significant in play, then you can define it in more detail so everyone's on the same page. This can be done via gear tags and custom gear moves. Defining tags for a piece of gear gives you a definition of what it can do and the advantages or disadvantages of using it. Tags come into play by opening up possibilities for the hunters. For example, night vision goggles, see in the dark, allow you to follow a creature's tracks even when in the dark. Custom gear moves. If tags aren't quite enough, you can also define a custom move for gear. Custom moves are dealt with in details on page 296, but the basic idea is simple. Just define when the gear works and what it does for the user. For example, if you get a sports car, you could define a custom move representing speed and performance. Like when you flee or pursue in the sports car, you get +1 ongoing. Oh, look at the giant cat chasing the car. That's kind of cool. Look how big that cat is. Leveling up. You get an experience point whenever you roll totals of 6 or less, or when a move tells you to. Mark your next experience box. When you mark the 5th experience box in your playbook, you level up. So all the playbooks have 5 experience boxes. Erase all 5 marks and choose an improvement from the list in your playbook. Mark the improvements off as you take them. Each can only be selected once. Then you start collecting experience marks again, until you level up again when you get another 5 experience points. When you have leveled up 5 times, you start choosing from the advanced improvements list as well. End of session experience. At the end of each session, people ask the following questions. Did we conclude the current mystery? Did we save someone from certain death or worse? Did we learn something new and important about the world? Did we learn something new and important about one of the hunters? If you get 1 or 2 yes answers, each hunter marks 1 experience. If you get 3 or 4, each hunter marks 2. Cool. Another thing to promote, advancing the plot and advancing the story. I love this. Don't feel too bad if some of the sessions you only mark 1 experience. It's okay. The main thing is, did everybody have fun? Improvements. There are 10 types of improvements. Here are the details. +1 to a rating, max plus X, usually +3. Permanently raise the specified rating, the maximum is limit. You can only raise the rating to the maximum further. It's like a lot of words to talk about something that I feel is pretty obvious. Take another move from your playbook. Another one of the moves from your playbook. Take a move from another playbook. Select a move from any other playbook that's available in your game, whether it's currently in use or not. This improvement requires a little care. It won't always make sense to take certain moves, especially supernatural ones. Make sure that the new move makes sense for your hunter. Some people play TTRPGs, like D&D or whatever, in a fashion that, like, when you level up, it's when it makes sense in the story, and it's in a way that makes sense to the story. So that's a fun idea that they're having here. I feel like you could probably justify pretty much anything, especially if you're not like 24/7 around everybody else, right? But anyway, at any rate, have fun. Yeah, main thing, have fun. Gain an ally or gain a team. If you gain an ally or a friendly team of people to help you out, you might already know the ally or team, or they might be new to the story. Allies and teams are defined the same way, even though an ally is individual and a team is several people, usually 2 to 6. The main difference is that for a team, motivation describes how they act as a team. So the individual members can have their own different motivation when they do their own thing. Excuse me. Taking another bite of my food. Any plans for the weekend? Anybody have any big plans going on this weekend? First weekend of the new year? I'll just be working. Oh, I'm gonna try to play this tomorrow night. With my group that I DM for. Other than that, just be working. Always be working. For little to no money. I really need to get my book out there and then like write the next one. Start doing that all the time would be nice. Pick one of the following types. Motivation is a guideline for the keeper about how they act. Subordinate. Motivation to follow your exact instructions. That's like an apprentice kind of situation, right? Lieutenant. To execute the spirit of your instructions. So that's less of an apprentice, more of like a trusted person. Friend. Motivation to provide emotional support. Ally, bodyguard, motivation to intercept danger. Confidant, motivation to give you advice and perspective. Backup, motivation to stand with you. If the ally or team members don't have names yet, pick them now. Decide what their background is too, how they look, any special skills they bring. You can also gain a haven, like the Esper has. You get a haven. When you take this, it will tell you how many options you can pick from the list in the expert playbook. Decide how you get the haven and where it is. Add an option to your haven. Select a new haven option from the list in the expert playbook. You've added this facility to your haven. Don't bother taking this improvement if you don't have a haven, right? Crooked, recover a stash of money. Like I said, you get a big pile of cash to spend. It's a lot, but not unlimited. Initiate, gain command of your chapter of the sect. The initiate can take this. It means they got promoted to be head of their local chapter. This gives the initiate access to all the sect's local facilities and command of their chapter's members. It doesn't mean you can constantly bring people along to help you on your mysteries. You need to take a team under your command for that. You can still call on resources from the sect on a case-by-case basis using your usual start of the mystery move, but you can ask for bigger things now. Of course, your new superiors also expect more from you, right? Mundane. Erase a luck mark. Erase a used luck mark from your sheet. You have bought some time before fate comes for you. Professional. Add resource tag or change red tape tag. If you want to add a new resource tag, pick one from the list in the agency section of your playbook. And again, most of these ones are specific to their playbooks. It's going to make more sense in that. I'm going to stop reading. I'm not going to read spells here. It's quickly one. We kind of got ideas about those kinds of things. Advanced improvements. So on the character sheet where it says level up, it gives you all these options. And if you're in that right playbook, it gives you that playbook's options, right? And then there's a separate section, the advanced improvements. These are only ones you can do after you've leveled up 5 times from the first one. In fact, that's what it says right here. After Hunter has leveled up 5 times, you unlock the advanced improvements. It's a list of new improvements you can choose from in addition to the basic improvements. From now on, when you level up, choose from either the basic or advanced improvements list. What's this or here? That's probably the correct wording. It's probably supposed to be or. Because if you're using both of them, like, you're going to run out of the first ones. And some of the advanced ones, they pick 2 from the first one. So either is probably better. It's probably what I was supposed to say. Some of the playbooks have special advanced improvements of their own. These are unlocked at the same time after 5 level ups. The rating, which were also in the first part. Change your hunter to a new type. When you change your type, pick another playbook you wish to change to. Your ratings and history stay the same. You may change your name or look if you want. For your old moves, check each one and decide with the keeper if it is intrinsic to who you are or just something you did for a while. If it's intrinsic, keep that move. If not, erase it. Then add new moves from your new playbook as if you were creating a new hunter. Finally, you may or may not get the new gear or keep your old gear, depending on what makes sense given the circumstances of your change. You can make a whole second hunter. Create a new hunter to join the team. You can play both hunters at once, or maybe take turns, deciding which of them will come along on a mystery on a case-by-case basis. Make up the new hunter as a normal, except for history. Only pick history for the hunters played by different people. Don't tie your own hunters together with history base. Played by different people. Okay, so if you're playing 2 people, they're saying don't have a history between them, only history with the other people's. Which, if it's a new character, might be difficult to do, but it could happen. It could probably be possible. Retire to safety. Your hunter retires to a safe place. You no longer actively hunt monsters and have found a place to live that's safe from old enemies. Give your hunter to the keeper to look after from now on. They are safe from the keeper's threats and never count as a threat themselves. Your retired hunter might, at your and the keeper's discretion, count as an ally for the other hunters. Erase 1 used luck mark. Off some time before fate comes for you. Mark 2 of your basic moves as advanced. There's a new result for each advanced move that applies when you roll 12 or higher. These 12 plus results represent the extraordinary levels of success you can now achieve. See below for details. Oh, I misunderstood this. Cool. So now we have advanced moves. They're regular moves. Oh, for like the act under pressure, help out stuff. Oh, cool. If you have advanced a basic move, you gain access to an even better result when you roll a 12 or more for the move. For act under pressure on 12 plus, you rise from above the pressure completely. You may choose to either do what you wanted and something extra, or to do what you wanted to absolute perfection, so that people will talk about it for years to come. Help out on 12 plus. The person you are helping acts as if they just rolled a 12 on their move, regardless of what they actually got. And similar things. That's really cool. That's not going to come into play for a while. So I'm just going to skip the rest of those, but that's very cool. Playbook specific advanced improvements for the chosen. And again, this will be in the list. Okay, so I'm not going to read these either. They'll be on the playbooks. You'll see them on the playbook in the advanced section for leveling up. Summary, Hunter Session. First time only. There's 2 parts to this. things you'll do just at the start of a new game, and then the things you'll do every time. I'm gonna buy my food real quick. It's very good. My roommates are good cooks. Alright. There are two parts to this: things you do to start up a new game, and things you'll do every time. First time only. Choose Hunter playbooks. Come up with a team concept. Create your hunter while everyone else creates theirs. Go around the group, each of you introducing your hunters to the others. Go around the group again. Each of you picks a history option for every other hunter on the team. Keeping your selected history options in mind, tidy up the team concept and work out your backstory. Go on to the things you do every game below. At the end of the first session, review your hunter's playbook and decide if any of the options you picked didn't match your vision of what the character would be like. If you need to make some changes, go ahead and do it. Every game. Draw the start of the mystery moves. Get the first clue from the keeper and make a plan. Investigate the mystery, interview witnesses, check out where key events happened, look into any other weird stuff going on. When you know what you're hunting, work out its weaknesses and where to find it. Whenever a roll totals 6 or less, mark experience. Whenever a move tells you to, mark experience. When you mark your 5th experience point, level up, select an improvement, and reset your experience to 0. Touch all the innocent bystanders. Go and kill the monster. When you're done, answer the end of session experience questions and mark any experience you earned from the answers. Oh wow, that thing, that's troubling. Some nightmare fuel. The Keeper. Alright, we're on to the stuff I really care about. If you're going to be the Keeper, your responsibilities are quite different to playing Hunter. This session takes you through all that. It's written to tell you what you need to know in the order you'll need it, with some digressions along the way. What you do, your job as the Keeper, has two parts. First, before each game, you need to spend a few minutes inventing a mystery, a monster, and a situation for the hunters to investigate and sort out. Second, when you sit down to play, you're responsible for portraying the hunter's world, describing the places, people, and monsters they meet, and how those things react to the hunter's actions. Incidentally, the term Keeper comes from the classic game Call of Cthulhu. It's short for Keeper of Arcane Lore there, but in Monsters of the Week, its meaning is Keeper of Monsters and Mysteries. How it will play out. This is an improvisational game. You will start each mystery having defined the monster and other details, but you won't know how the situation will play out once the hunters get involved, especially with my group. Let them do what they want. Your responsibility to decide how the people and monsters and anything else react to those actions. The game is improvised in the wider scale too. You and other players will develop a backstory and mythology about the hunters and the world as you play. When something happens in an individual mystery, you can weave some of those events back into later events to build a consistent world. No planning ahead, which is one of the reasons why I really want to play this game. One thing that the Keeper definitely does not do is decide what is going to happen to the hunters. You'll prepare the situation that they're coming to investigate, and you'll think about what would happen if they didn't come. But once you sit down to play your mystery with the hunters, everything is up to them. They get to choose which places they visit, which people they talk to, how they chase down the monster, and everything else. Your preparation gives you a sketch of what's going on, just enough for you to work out how everything will react to what the hunters do. It's fine to speculate about what is likely to happen. Say if you have a hunter who is likely to be sympathetic to a particular person in the mystery, you can go ahead and think about some things, possible things that might happen because of that. Or perhaps you set up a place because you are sure the hunters will track the monster down there and have a big fight. That sort of thing is fine, just as long as you remember it's only as a possible outcome. What you should not do is force the story to go a certain way. Instead, let the hunters do whatever they want in the situation you have set up for them. And I feel like that should be the thing in all TTRPGs. I know some people like to over prep in D&D. I also find some comfort in that, but I also find when I run out of that stuff eventually, that then I'm burnt out, and especially if I'm not feeling that well. It's better just try and play this kind of system. It's about the hunters, not the mystery. Ooh, I like that title. Another thing to remember is that although in each game of Monsters of the Week, the hunters have a mystery to solve, this isn't really a game about solving mysteries. We want to see the hunters being awesome, and that requires that they solve the mystery and find out your secrets about what's going on in the wider world. Then we see what they do with the answers. We play for the times when the hunters realize they need to do something terrible, or put themselves in danger, or pull out all the stops. The hunters make those decisions, and we play out all the consequences. That's what this game is about. Take another bite real quick. I'm hungry, I'm so hungry. It's getting better, though. I'm taking a few bites. I act like I haven't ate forever. I ate earlier. I mean, I had lunch. I had breakfast and lunch. Before your first game, there's a few things you need to do before you begin. Think about the style you want. Get into the keeper mindset. Create a mystery for the hunters to investigate. Think about the style. Before you begin playing, spend some time thinking about the style you want to bring to the game. Consider the monster hunting fiction that excites you the most, and maybe watch or read some of it. Generate some ideas about how you want the world of the game to work, how it will look to the hunters, and what sort of thing might be going on. You'll find a list of my favorite monster hunting fiction on page 307 if you need some extra inspiration. The game is going to be built by you and the other players together. So at this stage, consider your ideas just as a sketch. Once the hunters are created, the game begins. All your sketches might get overwritten. Having something in mind gives you a skeleton of the world to begin with, but you'll fill in the details as a group in play. Get into the keeper mindset. You also need to prepare yourself for how to run the game. I've codified my best practices for running Monster of the Week to a toolbox of advice. The toolbox owes a huge debt to Vincent Baker in Apocalypse World. Vincent describes his methods for running that game. As he's done, I'll present an agenda for what you do as a keeper, what you should always say, the principles you use to create the world, and the moves you can make. I'll have more to say about these later. I'll present them here so you have them in mind while you prepare your first mystery. So just like the players had their agenda, right? Keeper has an agenda here. The keeper agenda is what you should focus on in play. It's a foundation for everything else you do. Your agenda is made up of 3 elements. Make the world seem real. Play to see what happens. That's more of the no prep. Make the hunters' lives dangerous and scary. And that can be the trickiest part that's going to require the most creativity, especially since you're playing to see what happens. Sorry. The keeper principles. Just double checking one more time. Yep, okay, mic is on. The Keeper principles are 12 specific ways to apply your agenda. This hopefully will help you with those. Put horror in everyday situations. Address yourself to the hunters, not the players. Call them by their character names. I always try to do that. No matter what system I'm playing. Use the keeper moves. Never use their names. There are keeper moves. We'll get into those later. And the keeper reference sheet is not what I thought it was. This game's keeper reference sheet is pretty cool. It's got like all the different kinds of stuff. Be a fan of the hunters. We're not, we're not opposed to the hunters. We're here to help them tell a really cool story. Build up a coherent mythology of the world as you play. Nothing is safe. Kill bystanders and minions. Burn down buildings. Let monsters be slain. Name everyone they meet. Make them seem like normal folks. Ask questions and build on the answers. Sometimes give the hunters exactly what they earned, rather than everything they wanted. You don't have to always like overgift, right? Think about what's happening off screen. You don't always have to decide what happens. Sometimes, like again, you can like ask the group like, what do you guys think might happen as a result of this? Also, if the characters haven't learned what happened, what's happening then, like you don't always need to know yet either. Everything is a threat. Ooh. Creating your first mystery. Now I'm going to run the mysteries in this book and the mysteries that are in the other book. I think I like the mysteries in the other book better than this one. I mean, that makes sense because that's books like dedicated to mysteries, right? But this is good to know, like, what were they thinking about when they made theirs and what you thinking about, It's good to know how to build your own, even if you're only running other people's. For each game, you'll create a mystery for the hunters to investigate. Here's how to build your first mystery. If you want to skip this step, you can use either the introductory mysteries, Dream Away the Time on 449, or Damn Dirty Apes and 200. Oh, there's more than one. I only saw the Damn Dirty Ape one. Okay, I have to check out Dream Away the Time too. And you can resume reading at the first session on page 163. I think for tonight, because we are in a bit of a hurry, we're going to do that. We're going to skip to 163. But let's go real quick over these elements. Mystery is made up of 6 basic elements. You can create them in any order, but I'll show you the order I usually use. Basic concept for the mystery, the hook that got the hunter's attention, the monster, the minions, bystanders, and locations that are involved, the mystery countdown, and optionally custom moves for special aspects of the mystery. Before we get into the guts of it, here's what a finished mystery looks like. Read it, and then I'll talk about how the pieces fit together. Oh, okay. So this is like a third one. An example mystery, Mongolian. Yeah, I can't read this one. This word, I'm not sure they've left. It doesn't, like I didn't hear the dogs barking and stuff. I can't say this word over and over again. That's cool. So it's kind of like a third one here. What did it say? 169 to skip to? 163. Let's just type that in here. So again, we don't have to fast scroll stuff. So there's like 20 pages it looks like or so about creating your own mystery, which is good, helpful. Appreciate that. Now, whenever I do this, the 163, like it's 161, so it's not perfect. This PDF viewer and where it goes to, but it got close. It got close. All right, so we're over halfway through the book, right? Oh, 322, so we're exactly halfway, basically. The first session, getting everyone into a room to play, is the next step. I'm going to assume that you'll get all the saying hi. Getting snacks and drinks and catching up out of the way first. I'll tell you about the game stuff you need to do. This paragraph was not only unnecessary, it was written very poorly. To creation. I don't know, was he trying to be like cute or funny or something? It just, Your first task is to guide the other players through the process of creating their hunters. Introduce the idea of team concepts. Help the group come up with a concept that gets them all excited. Nobody thinks of an exciting concept now. You can wait until later to work that out. Wait until after they've decided on their hunters' histories with each other. Next, allocate hunter playbooks. It's perfectly reasonable to limit the hunter types available. If you have a particular style in mind for your game, this can also speed up hunter creation as there are fewer decisions to make. I will not be doing this, especially since the first time they're playing. I want them to know all the things they could do. But if you're, if you're like going to a convention or something, or if you're playing the same group all the time, you could even narrow it down to the fact that like these are the 3 playbooks we're using, and you guys pick which one you want. Especially like a convention setting where like things have to go pretty quickly. If the team has a concept that requires certain playbooks, have people choose from those first. Otherwise, just let everyone have a quick look at each and grab the one they like the look of. If anyone's having trouble, ask them what sort of hunter they would like, and you can suggest which playbook suits that idea. A lot of this is just like, it will be common sense once you play TTRPGs before. I don't mind that it's here though, because this might be the first TTRPG you're playing, and hopefully it is. Hopefully you didn't start with D&D like me. Then get everyone to follow the instructions in their playbook up to introductions. Be ready to answer any questions and watch for anyone who seems to be having trouble. Also, this section is for people who didn't read the prior part, right? They might just skip to keeper stuff. We read all the stuff already, so we kind of have the idea of what the hunters are going to be doing in the beginning. Put some questions to the whole group too, and get everyone's input. If people seem to be getting bogged down, tell them to just choose what seems coolest now. They'll have a chance to revise things after you play your first session out. As everyone gets close to done, go around those who finished. Find out what they picked and point out any implications you can see from their choices. For example, there might be a mismatch between the ratings they picked and what they need to roll for their moves, or a possible duplication of abilities with other hunters. That sort of thing isn't necessarily bad, but it's worth thinking about whether they really want to do it. I totally disagree. This last chapter should not be in here. It should not be in here. Now I know I've already disagreed with them saying only one per playbook, and this is kind of going back to a little bit, but like even worse. This is even more power gaming bullcrap. I get the idea. Having a varied party composition to be able to handle multiple threats in different ways can be fun and useful and everything, but it's not required for all stories. Yeah. Introductions. Once everyone's ready to introduce themselves, facilitate taking turns to introduce hunters. The most important things each player should describe their hunter's name, playbook, and looks, though they can add more if they want. You should ask a few questions of each player to tease out more details that you and the others may know, especially about things that will have a big impact on the game, like the chosen's destiny, the professional's agency, the wrong's loss. This is also a good time to ask what each hunter can do, so that everyone can see how the team works together. History, then go around the group. I just dropped something. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Alright. I'm taking out a bite of my food. I almost took it like the whole last piece, but then I'd be chewing it forever. Not able to continue the stream for a while. It's already bad. I'm sorry. I gotta eat. I'm just going back over basically what we read for the history for the players' handbooks anyway. If it doesn't say who decides, the player concerned gets the final word. So whoever's player is describing their history and their link to this other player. Help with suggestions if anyone has a mind blank. At the end, each hunter should have 2 facts about their history with every other player or member of the team. One they pick themselves and one picked by the other hunter about them. Now you can work out team story based on all those bits of history. You don't need to go into detail, but work out the basics of how the hunters got to know each other and started hunting monsters together. Maybe a rough chronology. I don't know why I can't say that word. Of what happened when. Mention how things work. This is a good time to explain the player's agenda, basic moves, what to roll and add, using luck, and when to mark experience, and how to level up. You have just enough detail to get started. Rather than trying to explain everything right now, you can fill in more details when they are needed. I feel like that's going to be, this is what I want to happen. I feel like my players are going to try to grill me about each of these things, but we'll see. Writing the first mystery. I'm going to start by talking a bit about the way to play the game. Then remind you of the keeper agenda and principles. Then discuss how to use them. I will then introduce 2 more concepts you need, what you should always say, and the keeper moves. That will give you all the rules you need to run the game. I'll put all this together to explain how to run your mystery on page 201. I like this. This is good. Again, the game is a conversation. This is an improvisational game in which you create a story together. The story emerges as a conversation between the players. You'll describe an initial situation, and other players will describe how their hunters respond. This leads into an ongoing back and forth between you and the hunters. As each decision the hunters make leads to a new situation, requiring new decisions about what happens next. To help you make your decision about what happens next whenever the outcome is uncertain, the rules restrict you to certain options. These parts of the conversation are called moves. Keeper moves work differently to hunter moves. Your moves are more general, allow you to build the game's world in accordance with your responsibilities. The moves flow from your keeper agenda, keeper principles, and the things you should always say. So I'll explain more about those first. Keeper agenda, remember, make the world seem real, play to see what happens, make the hunters' lives dangerous and scary. How to use the keeper agenda. Making the world seem real means that you describe the world in a way that makes sense. Most things are going to be the same as they are in our world. Normal people would act like normal people, for instance. As part of making the world seem real, the rules you establish for magic and monsters should be consistent, unless you decide to undermine that in order to make the hunters' lives dangerous and scary, see below. And this should always be the case in every TTRPG you're playing. Whatever the ruling is that you decide, you'll be consistent, make it that way every time. Now, there's a couple caveats to that. First of all, you're running D&D, you're running this, whatever you're running, right? The first session, the first time the rule comes up, you're like, I don't know. What do you guys think? You don't know. Okay, I tell you what, this time we're going to do it this way, and I'll think a lot more before next session, and now figure out, how we're going to handle that in the future. And then once you've done that, the next session, once you decide, okay, this is how we're going to do it in the future, always do it that way in the future. At least for that campaign. Like, if I can start a new campaign, you can be like, okay, I think for this campaign, we're going to do it a different way or whatever. But the main thing is that through the story, except for maybe that first time, because maybe the first time you get it, wrong. Maybe you find it out in the rules. It wasn't the rules buried somewhere. An explanation, a better explanation than what happened. Sometimes you like your explanation better. Sometimes you go find out in the rules, oh yeah, it's there, but I like what we did better, and you just stick with that. But again, whatever you decide, not in the moment necessarily, but like the next time after you've had time to research it or whatever, consistency. Play to see what happens means you let the story develop naturally. When you prepare a mystery, you decide what will happen if the hunters don't get involved. When the hunters start interfering in the monster's plans, let the results from what that happen organically, based on what the hunters do and the moves you decide to make. Make the hunters' lives dangerous and scary. Well, that's just what it says. The hunters are cool action heroes, and for that to matter, they need to be dealing with horrific and overwhelming stuff. The harder it is to save the bystanders they meet, the more rewarding it will be when they manage. The section that follows about your principles and the things you should always say and your moves are all designed to support you in sticking to your agenda. The keeper principles. Remember, your principles are: put horror in everyday situations. Address yourself to the hunters, not the players. Use the keeper moves, but never use their names. This is one I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to practice. Be a fan of the hunters. That's not a problem for me. Build up a coherent mythology of the world as you play. Nothing is safe. Kill bystanders and minions, burn down buildings, and let monsters be slain. Name everyone they meet. Make them seem like normal folks. Ask questions and build on the answers. Sometimes give the hunters exactly what they earned rather than everything they wanted. Think about what's happening off screen. You don't always have to decide what happens, and everything is a threat. Using the Keeper's principles. The Keeper principles keep your agenda at the front of your mind. Here are more details on each of the principles. Put horror in everyday situations, because that's the way to make it hit home. If the victims are regular people just like us, then that gives the horror emotional bite. Plus, we're creating a world almost like the real one. Address the hunters, not the players. Keep things immediate. If you talk to Diana the hunter instead of Stefan the player, you're putting him into the zone where he needs to deal with what Diana has in front of her right now. Make your move but never use his name. You have a list of moves you're allowed to make on page 172. Okay, cool. 4 pages away. We'll definitely get to them. Nice. You should not, however, tell the hunters that you are picking a particular move from the list. Tell them what happens in the story, the actions that comprise your move. The swamp gargoyle grabs you and leaps up onto the roof, leaving everyone else in the alley. It's a lot more interesting than I separate you, Francis, you're grabbed and on the roof now. Grounding your moves in the events of the game keeps the sense that things are happening because they make sense, rather than you picked an option from the list. Be a fan of the hunters, because that's the whole point of the game. We're here to see how awesome these hunters can be. Your job is to make life hard for them, but only so you can see how the hell they get out of their next predicament. Build up a coherent mythology of the world as you play is another way to make the world seem real. When the hunters fight a vampire, it should have the same instincts, powers, and weaknesses as the vampire they fought a month ago. Unless you already know that there are several kinds of vampires, of course. Keep track of what's happened and how it fits together. Then you can start working out the deeper truths that underlie it all. And this helps with consistency too. If you're keeping notes and stuff, because sometimes a player will remember something that happened 3 sessions ago, or an organization or something, and be like, "Oh, I wonder if this has to do with that organization." And then, in the story, you go, "Whoa, that's really cool if it would be." If you have notes on those people, you're going to be able to better represent that organization and honor what the player remembered or took notes on. If you have your own notes. Now, I've been getting worse at running notes, especially when I run modules, so I'll have to get better at that too. But I like the idea of different kinds of vampires too. And Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they had different kinds of vampires also. Nothing is safe. Because this is a horror game. The monsters are going to kill people or worse, unless the hunters stop them. And the same goes for your monsters and minions. When the hunters track them down, let them die. Let stuff burn, explode, or fall into a magical rift forever. Name everyone they meet, make them seem like normal folks. Make the hunters want to save these people. But normal folks could be jerks, or dumb, or annoying, and they still need to be saved. I don't know if my party will save them if they're annoying or jerks. They should be. I agree with the sentiment of this paragraph. I like this paragraph. I don't know. My party, they make interesting decisions sometimes. If the hunters meet a bystander a second time, make sure the bystander remembers what happened last time and acts based on what the hunters did then. Ask questions and build on the answers. Help to populate the world. At the beginning, none of you know what the story is here. You're going to invent details as you fill the world. But some of this is up to the other players. When a hunter does something, ask how they do it. What did it seem like to everyone else? Why did they do it that way? Have you fought one of these creatures before? What did you learn then? Use the answers to give you and expand on it. They give you and expand on it. Build it into the game's mythology and into the mysteries and recurring threats you create. Sometimes, give them exactly what they earned rather than what they wanted. Keeps things interesting. Usually it's pretty obvious what the hunters want when they make a move, but you don't have to give them more than the rules say. For example, say someone chooses who's most vulnerable. Your answer could be, well, you can see where another ghoul is hiding. You could get behind it. But sometimes the answer is the one that's half dead on the other floor in front of you, or on the floor in front of you. Don't always do this. Remember to do what your preparation and honesty demands. See the always say section below, but sometimes just do what the rules demand. My phone's acting like... My phone is muted, first of all, so I shouldn't have talked back to me in the first place. Second place, it was acting like I said the name that the phones care about, and I didn't. Think about what's happening off screen as a reminder that what you're focusing on right here and now isn't the only thing that's going on. What is the monster doing at the moment? What about the people the hunters talked to before? Who is in danger and who is up to something? If the hunters have split up, what are the others doing? You don't always have to decide what happens. Sometimes there are places where you have a choice. For instance, would the monster kill the victim right now? And you don't have a clear idea how it should play out. Maybe you can give the hunters a chance to intervene. Or you could think about what's going on through this monster, minion, or bystander's head, and let them decide. Does the monster really want to kill the person? Or would it maybe take them captive? Or maybe scare them and leave? Or maybe the victim has a plan. You don't need to make every single judgment based on some unattainable, perfect first impulse. There are other ways to work it out. Everything is a threat. Obviously, the monsters and minions are threats, but so is everything else. Threat here is meant very broadly. A threat is anything that's going to make trouble for the hunters. So even the people the hunters are trying to help are going to be threats. They'll get in the way, or panic, or do something really stupid. That applies to everything else that turns up in the game too. Places, objects, cults, police departments, everything is a threat. 169, nice. Alright, I'm gonna bite my food real quick before we get into what we should always say. I'm really enjoying this overall. I'm really glad I reread it. I'm gonna try to run it tomorrow. Now, this is a new concept. We haven't read till now. We read the title, as said above, using what you always say. But, what does that mean? The always say rule ensures you stick to your job. Say something that the principles demand. The principles keep the style of the game grounded in the action horror, and help you decide what will come next. Say what the rules demand. When someone makes a move, follow the rules for that move. Don't apply them inconsistently. Remember we talked about being consistent before. Say what your prepared mysteries and arcs demand. That's what you prepared them for, after all. If the mystery countdown says the Rakshasa is going after the mayor next, that's what you say. Unless other events have changed his plan, of course. Arcs are ongoing or recurring threats, like season-long stories or big bad monsters. I'll talk more about them on page 227. We won't probably get to that tonight. But are treated here the same as mysteries. Say what honesty demands. Say what honesty demands. Means you should let the hunters know anything they would be aware of. For example, there's a monster waiting to ambush them and they're walking right into it. But an experienced badass hunter would know to be careful here. It makes sense to say to them, this would be a good ambush spot. Maybe you want to read a bad situation. Sometimes. Depends on your players, depends on what's going on. Or if they're talking about the werewolf they're hunting and they say silver kills werewolves, but that isn't true for your werewolves, then let them know. Actually, silver is a myth, but wolfsbane works. Or if they're going to make a move like protect someone and they'll need to throw themselves in front of a flesh stitcher, let them know that they're going to suffer a lot of harm if they do it. I like the part about your werewolves could be different, so don't let players have freaking like in my world. I like that. I like that. Some of the other stuff, I feel like it depends on the story and the situation. And the characters that are involved. So again, take these rules as guidelines, and you'll learn with experience, especially like what your players. I was gonna say need, but that's the wrong word. When to give your players help and what kind of help you need to give them in these kind of ways. More generally, you should be a fan of the hunters. Don't let dumb, unsaid stuff trip them up. Yes, 100%. Extending that, you can always give a player a do-over if the situation wasn't what they thought it was. For example, if someone chooses to suffer harm as a move result, thinking it will only be a minor injury, but in fact it was enough to kill them, in that case, let them go back and choose the option that keeps them alive instead. Again, this is if it was miscommunicated. I agree with that. If they're making a choice and they just rolled bad, and then that's not a do-over. But if they want to make the roll, they're like, no, I want to do this thing. But if they should have made a different move, or different move would have made more sense in the situation, or maybe I didn't describe the whole scene very well, then yeah, you can write down stuff. Absolutely. Moves cover situations when the game rules step in to help determine what happens. Just as the hunters have basic moves and playbook moves, you have a set of basic keeper moves. You also get moves that go with each type of threat, and harm moves for whenever someone or something gets hurt. For the hunters, their moves cover specific cases. Hunter moves say that when a hunter does this, it is resolved like so. Your keeper moves are more general, giving you broad but definite options. And this is cool. This is going to be very helpful. Because so far, like, I still kind of like, I'm a practice DM, so I could work with what I have so far, but like I could also use some more help. So give me some more help, game. To do it, you have to do it. This is important. When you or the hunters make any move, you must describe how it happens. Always say what is happening in the game, not just the rules slide of things. Don't tell someone, roll act under pressure. Tell them, the warlock's gaze insinuates itself into your mind, and as it hisses, kill your comrades. You feel an overwhelming urge to comply. What do you do? There's a flip side to this as well. When one of the hunters is doing something that is a move, make sure they follow the rules for that move. For example, someone says, I go up to the park ranger and ask her, did you see anything weird last Sunday night? Then you should ask them to roll the investigate move before you decide how the ranger answers. For the most part, I agree with this first part. The second part, 100%. You're going to have to tell them to roll act under pressure at some point. They're not going to know what this means for them to roll act under pressure. Basic keeper moves. Okay. Remember, we don't roll dice, so how's this going to work? Every time it's your turn in the conversation to tell the hunters what happens, or when they look at you expectantly for you to say something, use one of these moves. Very helpful. Separate them. Reveal future badness. Reveal off-screen badness. Inflict harm as established. Make them investigate. Make them acquire stuff. Tell them the possible consequences and ask if they want to go ahead. Turn their move back on them. Offer an opportunity, maybe with a cost. Take away some of the hunter's stuff. Put someone in trouble. Make a threat move from one of your mystery or arc threats. After every move, ask what they do next. Using the keeper moves. These moves are your main tool in play. Most of the time, when you're saying something, it'll be one of these keeper moves. Here are the details, explanations of them all. I love this. Separate them is just that. You can arrange your separation lots of different ways. Maybe a monster grabs someone, maybe someone falls behind, or maybe you can just say, while Francis is checking out the kitchen, you're upstairs searching the bedrooms. Anything to get the hunters away from each other and from the people they're trying to help. Separating people can be used to make them vulnerable, or you can use it to put certain people together away from the others, if you think that will lead to something interesting. Reveal future badness allows you to hint at something the hunters will need to deal with later. It can be obvious, for example, when they see a person with a snake-like face approaching, or when they ask about what's likely to happen as part of an investigative move. It can be subtle, such as when you mention the sun is setting, and by implication that the monsters are coming out, or they hear an indistinct noise ahead of them while they explore a haunted house. It could be something from your mystery countdown that will be happening soon. It could be something from one of your arcs that might not matter right now, but which creates awareness of bigger problems for the hunters. The next keeper move is reveal off-screen badness. It's similar, but it's something happening right now somewhere else. It could be things seen or heard in the distance, like screams or sirens or a fire. It could be what's going on from someone else's point of view, such as potential victims seeing the monster coming from them. You can even cut away from the hunters, just like a TV show, show the players who is in danger or who is up to something. You can inflict harm as established. It is used when a person or other thing in the world was being threatened with damage and nothing prevented it. The as established part is important. You can only inflict harm that is plausible and already present in the story. For example, if a hunter is pushed down a flight of stairs, you really have a good idea of the potential harm. It is likely they'll be shaken and bruised, possibly if they broke a bone or got a concussion, but they can't suffer severe burns from falling downstairs. Make them investigate, keep some game moving. In each mystery, the hunters need to find clues until they know enough to face the monster behind it all. If the hunters get stumped, ask them what they look for next. If they ask you for information, ask them how they find it out. Then get them to make an investigate a mystery move. The answers from the investigating depends on what the hunter did. By asking a witness questions, they will learn different things than when they analyze samples in a lab. If the hunters ask a question and you can't see how they could discover that, ask them to explain how. Make them acquire stuff. Use this move when the hunters need something special, like they want to build a spirit detector, or cast a spell, or find an old book, or get a new weapon. Ask them how they pay for it, steal it, or find it. Tell them the possible consequences and ask. Often the hunters will want to do something, but isn't a move. Let them know they can do it, but only if they pay a certain price or suffer certain effects. For example, you can get away through that vent, but you'll have to leave your shotgun behind. Or you can grab that bag, but only by putting yourself in the firing line. The consequences could be a move too. You can do it, but you'll need to act under pressure. That makes sense. Turn their move back on them. That's when a hunter misses a move roll. Whatever they were trying to do happens to them instead. If they're trying to protect someone, they made the danger worse. If they were investigating a mystery, they reveal something to the monster. If they were using magic, it has the opposite of its intended effect. I like that one. I like them all fine. I really like that one. Offer an opportunity, maybe with a cost. If they need something, offer what they need and tell them what they need to pay for it. For example, maybe the sheriff will let them continue investigating in his town, but only if they guarantee his children's safety. Take away some of the hunter's stuff. Things break. Weapons can be dropped. Vital equipment can be thrown across the room by a monster or smashed to pieces. But taking away doesn't have to be permanent either. Cell phones can lose a signal, and the car could be out of gas, or a gas leak might make it too dangerous to fire a gun right now. Also, back up here, if the sheriff, only if the children are safe, if you made this exact deal, make sure to at least put the children in danger. Like the hunters can go and save them, and therefore they fulfilled their promise. How interesting if they don't get to save them in time. But definitely make them. This isn't a payment if they never have to act on it, right? Right. Put someone in trouble. For instance, someone in trouble. Hunters are out to save people, so you need to provide people for them to save. Threaten bystanders, endanger other members of the team, and send monsters after a hunter's family. Plus, there are other kinds of trouble as well, such as suspicious cops or neighbors who don't like the hunter snooping around. Make a threat move from one of the current mystery threats or one of your arc threats. This list of keeper moves is not the whole story. Each type of threat has its own list of special moves it can make. See pages 176 through 779. Use these when threats are presented and active. Ooh. After every move, ask what they want to do next. Just as it says, every time you make a move, immediately ask the hunters what they do next. Let them drive the action by asking what they do next at every chance you get. I hope we get to 176 or 179. I feel like we're in the 170s already, right? Yeah, 174? Alright, we might run a little late, but I definitely want to see those. That's some moves like threats again. Which keeper move to use? Mostly it will be obvious what should happen next. Picking your move is easy. Other times it's not so obvious. You might need to think a little about what you will do. That's fine, take a moment if you need to, or you can just ask the hunters what they do. That's a good default move when you can't think of anything right now. If you can't decide, you can always fall back on your keeper principles or your agenda and describe something consistent with them. Soft moves and hard moves. Alright, before we get to those, take a bite real quick. Gotta eat. A hard time cutting that piece, but now we got it. You can use each keeper move in one of two ways, as a soft move or as a hard move. Soft moves is one that threatens danger or pushes the hunters in a certain direction, which is a way to stop the danger or divert it. For example, the ice weasel races down the hall, teeth bared to rend. Pros in that sense. This is a reveal future badness move and gives the hunter something to react to. They can do something to prevent the danger or ignore it and do something else instead. A hard move doesn't give the hunters a chance to react. For example, the ice weasel shoulders your arm out the way and its teeth bite deep into your shoulder, ripping through clothes, skin, and muscle. Take 4 harm. This time it's inflict harm as established. But because it's used as a hard move, the hunter doesn't have any chance to respond or avoid suffering the harm. Soft moves set up hard moves. Use soft moves to set up situations that will lead to a hard move. A soft move gives the hunter something to deal with. If they solve that problem, great. If not, then a follow-up hard move is the consequence of failure. When to make a hard move without setting it up, as well as a failed attempt to deal with a soft move, events in play can turn out so that a hard move is appropriate. Specifically, when the hunters hand you a golden opportunity, when a hunter misses a roll, that is 6 or less, when a hunter has used up all their luck. Handing you a golden opportunity. A situation where, for example, the hunter says, I leap down into the horde of zombies. If you inflict 4 harm on them from the zombie bites and clawing, that's too bad. They knew what they were getting into. Missing a roll with a total of 6 or less is always a time when you can make a hard move. The hunter screws something up badly, so do whatever you need to. For example, if a hunter tries to protect someone and blows it, you can inflict harm on the victim, maybe even kill them. Make whatever was threatened come to pass. The last one's a different case. When someone has used all their luck, they become doomed. This means you are allowed to make hard moves against them anytime. For example, let's say a hunter says, I'll go check out the campsite, and you know the Yeti has set up an ambush there. Normally it would make sense to give them a chance to spot this, for instance, by asking if they want to read a bad situation as they approach. If the hunter is doomed and doesn't make a point of checking for danger, then you can choose to make a hard move, which means they only find out when 2 Yeti grab them. These situations are times when you are justified making a hard move as you like. You don't have to, but you can. Always refer back to your agenda and principles if you want to make these choices. Good stuff. Very good stuff. Threat moves. Each type of threat has its own set of special moves it can make. Use these as well as the basic keeper moves when you're describing what a threat is doing. Threat moves are used in the same way as the basic keeper moves, except their particular threat has to be the source of the move. Monster threat moves. Monsters get 14 moves. Hint at its presence. Display its full might. Appear suddenly. Attack with great force and fury. Seize someone or something. Attack with stealth and calculation. Order underlings to do terrible acts. Destroy something. Escape, no matter how well contained it is. Give chase. Return to home ground. Boast and gloat, maybe revealing a secret. Return from seeming destruction. Use an unnatural power. Using monsters. Monsters are a key threat type. Always there in the shadows behind everything bad that is happening. They should be dangerous and scary, but also remote at first. Let the monsters be revealed slowly as the hunters close in. This will be matched by the hunters gradually learning about the monster's powers and weaknesses. Don't be afraid to use the monster's threat moves to get it out of trouble either, especially in cases where the hunters track it down early in the mystery. You can let it escape for the time being, allowing it and the hunters a chance to rest and regroup. Finally, it will likely come down to a fight between the hunters and the monster. This is the chance to throw everything at them, with all its unnatural powers, gloat, and generally make the final fight as tough and exciting as possible. You cut in half. Sheesh. Minion threat moves. Minions get 11 moves. Burst of sudden, uncontrolled violence. Make a coordinated attack. Capture someone or steal something. Reveal a secret. Deliver someone or something to the master. Give chase. Make a threat or demand on behalf of the master. Run away. Use an unnatural power. Display a hint of conscience or humanity. Conscience. Disobey the master in some petty way. Using minions. Minions are there to support and guard the monster. While monsters should be kept at a distance to start with, it's fine for minions to be noticed and fought early in the mystery. Minions can also be used to build up tension, giving the hunters a feeling of being surrounded by danger or of constantly being watched. Don't have minions always fight to the death. They can flee, surrender, or offer a deal, be left alive, or betray their master. This is especially true for human minions. Bystander threat moves. Bystanders get 10 moves. Go off alone. Argue with the hunters. Get in the way. Reveal something. Confess their fears. Freak out in terror. Try to help the hunters. Try to protect people. Display inability or incompetence. Seek help or comfort. I love it. Love it, I love it, I love it. Using bystanders. Bystanders don't normally intend to cause trouble for the hunters, but they do so anyway. Think of each bystander as a person who wants one simple thing, which is represented by their motivation. A victim might want to just stay in his apartment. Whatever the hunters say is coming. An official might just want to finish the paperwork, be done with this case, without dealing with any crazy hunters. When thinking about bystander moves, consider the bystander's motivation and what dumb thing they could do that will lead to trouble for the hunters. What can the bystander complicate for the hunters? How can they get in the way? This applies even when the bystander helps the hunters. This will give the hunters extra problems, starting with keeping the helper alive. Bystander motivations are not always things that immediately lead to trouble. For example, a witness is motivated to reveal information. Although when you reveal information to a hunter, that does tend to lead to trouble. Telling the hunters where to find a monster usually leads them to going to fight it. Witness might also give the hunters too much information or tell them something incomplete or just plain wrong. A helper can easily create trouble despite wanting to help the hunters just by giving the hunters someone to look after, or consider a helper who tries to lure the monster toward the hunters. An innocent wanting to do the right thing can cause trouble by insisting that the authorities get involved, or by telling people the whole truth at an inappropriate time. Any normal person the hunter talks to should be given a name and threat type. Almost always a bystander type. If you have no particular idea what their role in the story is going to be, default to witness if they might have some clues for the hunters, or victim otherwise. Location threat moves. Locations get 11 moves. Present a hazard. Reveal something. Hide something. Close away. Open away. Reshape itself. Trap someone. Offer a guide. Present a guardian. Something doesn't work properly or create a particular feeling. Using location threats, locations normally don't have intentions the way that monsters, minions, and bystanders do. Instead, they stand in for things that go wrong around the hunters due to hazards in the environment. For example, in a maze, an exit door could get jammed, or the GPS in the hunter's car might start glitching out. Location threat moves give you ways to move the mystery along or put obstacles in the way of the hunters. They're useful to pace the mystery as it plays out, slow the progress down, or speed it up. The moves also work well when there's action to keep things exciting. Ooh. The basic hunter moves? The description of the basic hunter moves. Page 1-1 is written from the hunter's point of view. Here's some extra information about the moves from the keeper's point of view. Okay. Act under pressure. Here's the move. This covers trying to do something under condition, particular stress or danger. Examples of acting under pressure are staying on task while a banshee screams at you, barricading a door before the giant rats catch up, resisting the mental domination of a brain, fighting on when you're badly injured. When you act under pressure, roll plus cool on 10 plus. You do what you set up to do. 7 to 9, the keeper is going to give you a worse outcome, hard choice, or price to pay. Or on a miss, things go to hell. This is a general purpose move for any time a hunter tries something that is dangerous or liable to fail, and isn't covered by any other moves, either a basic move or one from the playbook. The pressure can be anything from being detected when they're hiding to resisting death as they try and escape a blazing building. Make sure you establish what the pressure is at the start. The hunters know what they're in for if they mess up. If you need to know what they're trying to do, you need to know what they're trying to do and to let them know what's making it hard. A result 7 to 9 tells you to give them a worse outcome, hard choice, or price to pay. They can do what they wanted if they accept what you pick. It is still a success, so they should be able to do what they wanted, although the cost might be high enough they decide not to. Use your agenda and principles to help decide. For our hiding example, maybe they can stay hidden, but only if they let the monster trap them in a dead end. Or they have to go so far back that they can no longer see what's happening. Both of these cases, the hard choice is about where they're positioned in the story. They could stay hidden, but have to pay the price. The burning building, maybe they can escape if they jump out a second floor window. Or they can run through flames to escape or stay somewhere that is safe for now. In these cases, the price is some harm from the fall or the fire. On a miss, whenever the pressure was overwhelmed. Alright, I'm not going to keep reading all these. You kind of get the idea. Investigate mystery is interesting. What? Oof. Creepy. Going to a lot on investigate mystery there. Got some kick mass here. Also seems like they went into more than others. Manipulate someone. Protect someone. Read a bad situation. Use magic. Big magic. I feel like we're mostly covered in the other ones. Playbook moves. Actually not covered by move. I've gone into detail about how to handle the basic moves. There is room to cover all the playbook moves in the same depth. Your overarching rule is to interpret results using the keeper's agenda, principles, things always say, and all your moves. If you stick to those, you won't go wrong. I agree. And I think that maybe going over the basic moves the way they did above might have been overkill. And I'm glad I didn't read them too much. I might in the future. Especially if I need to make a ruling, I'm not sure. But there's such thing as, especially in a game like this, it's supposed to be pick up and play, as information overload, and that being a problem. I'm getting a little bit of a headache. That's why I'm wearing the sunglasses tonight too, with this white background on this. I really wish there was an option to not have a white background on this. Actually, not covered by a move. Sometimes hunters will come up with something they want to try that isn't covered by existing moves. Depending on exactly what it is, there are several ways to deal with it. And it says act under pressure right there, or magic. And it said earlier, act under pressure is kind of like a catch-all, but that doesn't make sense, Make a ruling, figure it out together. Ask them. On with the mystery. That covers the basic rules, which you need to keep in mind. How to get on with the mystery. The previous section was a long digression, but if you cast your mind back to running the first mystery, the group had just finished creating hunters and were ready to start playing out the mystery. You should have your prepared mystery in front of you. Go on start of mystery moves. Alright, this stuff looks kind of important. Let me take another bite of my food. I like this, I like the idea that it's going to give us, like, sort of mystery. Started mystery moves. First check if anyone has a move to roll at the beginning of the mystery. Doesn't always does. Expert Plate Initiative Spooky might have one. Ask them how they do the move. Then have them roll and see what the effect is. Make sure that anyone who rolls 6 or less marks experience. The teaser. Begin the game with a scene to introduce the hook. The way you introduce the hook allows you to select a certain atmosphere and place for the mystery. For example, dramatize the most recent monster attack, showing the victim from the monster's point of view. Ask the hunters what they are doing when they find out about the hook. Describe the hunters at the diner near the scene of the latest attack, discussing the hook. Describe hunters at the scene of the latest attack, picking out the environment for clues, and talking to witnesses. The default is to start the hunters at the scene. Other options will increase the time it takes to complete the mystery, allow more time for the hunters to develop their characters and relationships. If you dramatize the monster attack, you may find it gives players who are new to the game a nice sense of competence when their hunters start investigating the mystery and ask the right questions. Introduce the teaser and then ask the hunters what they're doing. For example, are they undercover? What do they want to check out first? Beginning the investigation. Tell them about the location and sketch up a quick map of the area, or show them one you already prepared, including important features, especially anything that was mentioned in the hook, where bodies were found, which house appears to be haunted, the location of the police station that filed the report, and so on. Then ask them, so, where are you going first? Are you all going, or are you going to split up? Cover more ground. After this, let the hunters drive the investigation. Play out the hunters' interviews with normal folks and their examination of places. If they meet bystanders you prepared with the mystery, use the details you wrote down. If they talk to someone new, give that bystander a name and a bystander type. Draw a map of everywhere they search and everywhere there's some action. Give each place a location threat type. You don't have to draw a map for everything. Theater of the mind is a powerful thing. Ask questions. All the way through this first mystery, you need to ask questions all the time. That's how to get a handle on the hunters. How each approaches things, how the team works together, how each hunter backstory is going to factor into the game. When they do something, ask them how they do it. If they want to know if they have a torch or whatever, ask them, do you normally carry one? When they find out about an important location, ask them if they've been there before. If they have, ask them what it was like. Let everyone contribute to the world you are creating in your game, and as keeper, build on their answers to your questions. Make notes of all the answers you get in case you need them later. Give them tough choices. The heart of the game is seeing what the hunters decide when they've only got an array of crappy options to choose from. Make sure they have difficult choices and push at them to go one way or another. There are any number of ways you can do this. Here are some of my favorites. A monster's weaknesses that is terrible to take advantage of. A big magic ritual that has nasty stuff for its requirements. A monster that it is in this way a victim. A simple but awful solution to the mystery's central problem. Call for moves. Call for investigate and manipulate moves, and the hunters look for clues. And if they go somewhere dangerous, suggest they might want to read a bad situation. If a hunter wants to do some crazy, impossible stuff, then remind them they can use magic for that sort of thing. Use your keeper moves. Keep in mind your agenda and principles and moves. Respond to the hunter's actions with your keeper and threat moves. Make soft moves the hunters must deal with, and then make a hard move if they don't deal with it. Recall that when a hunter misses a move roll, that is, their total is 6 or less, you get to respond with a move of your own. It can be a hard move. For acting under pressure, things go to hell for the hunter. For help out, the hunter exposes themselves to trouble or danger. So on and so on. Remind the hunters that they can help each other too, especially if someone just missed the roll by 1. Help can be given after the roll has been made. However, help bonuses do not stack. If 300 successfully help, they don't get a +3 bonus. Use the countdown. Mark off the steps in the countdown. The corresponding event happens in play, or when you decide it has now happened off screen. Advancing the countdown isn't one of your moves itself, but it represents a move that was just made or is about to be made. Good times to advance the countdown are: you announce off-screen badness that warns about the event about to happen, or show that it's happening now. A hunter blows an investigative move that could have led to finding out about the next event. You make a move for a threat that completes the next event. A hunter misses a move roll attempting to stop the next event. I'll show you briefly what the countdowns look like. Get to the first mission. As the countdown, we won't go over the whole mystery, but I'll show you the countdown. As the countdown is what would happen if the hunters didn't interfere. You will usually need to revise the plan based on what happens in play. The hunters might prevent something directly, or the monster might change its plan in response to what the hunters do. Maybe some of the events will be changed, maybe some will be skipped, or they could all become irrelevant. That's fine. The important thing is that the countdown provides you with a guide what the bad guys are trying to do. I'm not prepared for this. The hunters will do things you didn't expect. They might check out somewhere you didn't define, talk to someone you hadn't thought about. If this happens, just make a note of the person or place, give them a name, quickly pick a threat type for them. That's all you need to do. Afterwards, you can treat that person or place the same as any of your prepared threats. You can even do this with monster and minion threats, if it makes sense, although when you also need to pick powers, weaknesses, attacks, armor, and harm capacity. It's less common for an unexpected monster to call for, but you can never be sure. The hunters might summon a creature to help them, or something like that. In general, just note down the minimum that you need to get on with the game, and then get on with it. Fill in more details if and when you need them. It always comes to a fight. Once the hunters get a handle on what they're hunting, they'll want to take it out. The following sections have a lot of advice for running fights, but this is an overview. Start fights somewhere interesting with lots of stuff that can be used in move descriptions by you and the hunters. Every fight scene should have a location threat type too, so remember to use those location threat moves when appropriate. Aim to have a couple of set pieces fight scenes. It's really hunters who determine how fast they touch the monster, but you still have a bit of control over the pacing via your moves. For example, the hunters track down the monster early on and feel anticlimactic, have the monster disengage or run away, perhaps using the monster threat move escape, no matter how well contained it is. Conversely, the hunters are moving slowly, the monster may decide to attack them. Show its full power, attack with great force. Try to hurt the hunters. They have plenty of luck at the beginning. They're not any real danger. A hard fight in the first mystery sets an expectation of danger and risk for the game, which helps create a sense of horror. Nice. Keeping fights interesting. What time is it? Yeah, we're running out of time. So, I think I want to come back here and read this. And you guys should buy this book and come read this too. I like it a lot. I like the things I'm gleaning here. I want to show you the clock real quick. Then we'll find some way to read. More about harm. Minions. Killing the monster. The monster isn't really dead. Be careful you don't overuse that and get old. Example fights. I wish I remember the name of the number the page was on that for the first story. I actually skipped it earlier. End of the first session. Getting ready for next time. Looking ahead. Memory Keeper's first session. Between game session arcs. I definitely want to come back and read this. Probably read that next week. I don't know if I'll read it on stream. Probably do a different game on stream. Maybe even talk about the DMG, the new DMG. That's Ancient Evil Red. Okay, so here's what the countdown looks like. Minions are collecting potential sacrifices to prepare for the awakening. Minions conduct a dark ritual to prepare the way, killing the sacrifice. And you see how it starts with day, goes to shadows, sunset, dusk, nightfall, midnight. So this is what happens if the players don't intervene. Off screen. This is happening off screen. And again, we read earlier about some of the moves that might hint at some of these things are coming, or they've already happened. This isn't the actual thing. Oh, Nemesis is cool. This isn't the actual next new story thing. These are just events, examples. Which that's cool. They have several examples here. Very cool. Very cool. Very happy. I need to change screens real quick just to make sure we don't go into the. Hi, Nathan. Reading for prep for already starting. No, I'm gonna start next. Wow, you came in right after a bot thing. But I need to change screens for that also because otherwise it would go. Tomorrow we're gonna start Monsters of the Week at my home tomorrow, and if that all goes well, I'll be doing that now on. If not, I might just use it for prep for like even for D&D because it feels like something I could just do in the background for D&D.